body. But in addition to the physical body, emotional energy centers are, you can call these emotional energy centers, but they're fed, controlled, manipulated by, first and foremost, the conscious mind, the thoughts and the thought forms that we have that keep circulating and recirculating in our head. Well, where do those come from? Those come from the subconscious mind most often. And so you can have a dream here in the conscious mind. I want a house, I want a new car, I want a new relationship, I want more money, whatever it is. And you can hold those thoughts in your conscious mind and meditate on them and walk around and have mantras about them all the time. But your subconscious mind reads what's going on here, and it's looking at this level, and the subconscious mind is running 7/24. It never rests. Its number one job is to protect you. Number one job. So if you sometime earlier in your life, you might have had a mortgage. I'll use a house as an example. You might have had a mortgage and you lost the house, or it became financially unbearable and it put a tremendous stress and a strain on you. And so the subconscious mind looks at that and goes, no, I don't think a new house is in the cards. And it will sabotage you to some degree and stop you from having a proper credit rating, from having a proper job, from having the income necessary for the house you want, because it was just too unbearable to lose the previous house. Now, that could be true of relationships, right? So you want a relationship, you want to be in an intimate relationship with somebody, and your subconscious mind is looking there and going, that's not a good idea, and so it's harder than it could or should be or has to be, because of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind does not care what you want. What it's trying to do is to protect you. Now, how does that play out at a bigger level? So in the subconscious mind, there are energies, influences, and programming that are running. Energy, influences, and programming. And so the energies can be like previous experiences in this lifetime. The influences are, they could literally be entities or something else. And then programming that's running, like things you were taught as a child. Don't get too big for your britches. That's one I heard often, which to me meant stay small, play small, never speak up, keep my mouth shut. Children should be seen and not heard. That's another good one, right? So there's programming that's running in the subconscious mind. Again, the subconscious mind doesn't have judgment. It just has a job. So 24/7 protection. Now, to the left of this is a block that represents fears, negative fixations, discordant and hidden emotions, things that have been pushed down by the conscious and the subconscious mind because they are so insidious and it doesn't want to deal with them. So this is feeding into the energies, influences, and programming of the subconscious mind, which is feeding into the conscious mind, which is feeding into the body. So you might have all these emotions and they're represented or they're felt at the physical level, but they're coming from here, 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 right? Another big one is deeply buried and hidden emotional trauma. And the best example, it's probably the most unpleasant example, but it's the best example, is sexual molestation as a child. Now, I'm going to give you my personal example. I was on my healing journey, and one day I had done a lot of work. I'd done a lot of personal growth work, a lot of energy work. I had gotten myself in a new mindset. I was moving forward with my life. And one day in the shower, I had a flash of being sexually molested as a child. And then the rest of the day, that memory just unfolded. just piece after piece after piece after piece, because my subconscious mind had decided it was able to let go of this because it was causing an imbalance in all the other parts of my life. So it needed to let go of this deeply buried and hidden emotional trauma. And it chose to do it on a work day. I don't know why the hell it did that, but it did it on a work day. And they ended up, I was at work I was sitting in my office and had a complete collapse and like a nervous breakdown. And they called the paramedics and they want to take me to the hospital. And I said, no, I'm not going. I know what this is. I know exactly what's happening. And they left me alone, and I left for the rest of the day. And the next day I was okay. But that's an example. Deeply buried and hidden emotional trauma. Now, it doesn't have to be that severe, but it can be, physically abused, mentally abused, spiritually abused, emotionally abused as a child. The subconscious mind is really good at pushing that down because you're not in a position to deal with that kind of energy. So it gets parked over here in this block. And then that can feed, these are interconnected, that can feed into and create these fears, these negative fixations, like phobias and such, like a fear of heights, a fear of bridges, a fear of you name it, gets created over here and then gets fed in the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is always trying to protect you. So when you're coming up on a bridge, this thing is going off, trying to get your conscious mind's attention, trying to get you not to cross the bridge or go to the edge of the cliff or whatever it is, whatever the problem is. And it also holds on to discordant and hidden emotions, right? Which translates back here at the physical level. So, like I said, this diagram is a good representation, but it's not all the picture. So these items over here causes the body to express imbalances. That's what this is about. It also causes imbalances in life force, prana, spiritual light, your nervous system impulses. This stuff over here will drive your nervous system crazy. So a lot of people who are suffering from anxiety disorder or PTSD or depression, they can't find a reason. They can't put their finger on what it is. That's because it's buried underneath the conscious mind and somewhere at this layer and to this side over here. Okay. So this is a complicated subject, the human part of us, right? It's the human part of us that does this. So this stuff over here is blocking and hiding the very things that are limiting our life and accelerating our aging and our degradation process. You ever looked at somebody and you think, my God, they've aged 10 years, or they don't look that young, or they look a lot older than that. I guarantee you it's because they have deeply buried and hidden emotional trauma. They have fears, negative fixations, and discordant and hidden emotions somewhere in their body-mind field complex, which then is impressing upon the body. So that's how it works. Now, well, let me keep going before I go to the rough part. So you've got the subconscious mind. When you add to the subconscious mind your level of consciousness, that equals what we call the low self. The low self. Now, we've always talked about the high self, but the low self is part of you. It's part of your field. There's a beautiful diagram in one of the manuals that shows the high self and the low self and the middle self and all the different parts. But when you marry the subconscious mind with with your level of consciousness, and so if it's beaten down because of this stuff over here, now you've got a really, for lack of a better term, a low self, a really low self, somebody that's finding it difficult to create, finding it difficult to manifest, finding it difficult to draw things to you and to be financially secure and have the money you need and hold on to the money that you need or want or desire. So now you're into the level of creation and manifestation, which is on the right side of this diagram. So now you're thinking, your emotional energy that you carry, whether you're happy or healthy or joyful or fearless or loving or alive or not, or the reverse of all that, that thinking and that emotional energy impacts every request you make to spirit, every request you make to the universe, every request you make to the creator. So these things that the subconscious mind is holding on to is seriously impacting your ability to manifest and create and heal and move forward in life, which is also causing you all kinds of pain and aggravation at the physical level. Okay. So when you make a request to the creator of all that is, or universe, whatever you like to call it, we always end up with less than the desired result. Less than the desired result. So instead of asking the universe for a dozen brown eggs, you get 8 brown, or you get 8 white eggs and 2 of them are cracked. Okay, that's a very simple example, but it works for everything. So because of all this protection mechanism, and remember, this is the human part of us. The human part of us is doing this, not the spiritual part of us. Because of the subconscious mind interfering with your level of consciousness, creating a less than effective low self, your requests to spirit are less than. Now, let's throw another wrinkle into this. The wrinkle is you have an unconscious mind. So when I look at somebody's field, I can see this very clearly. I can see that fairly clearly. This is a black hole, or it looks to me like a black hole, an energetic black hole. And this is basically in the unconscious mind, just like in the subconscious mind. If you're 44 years old or 50 years old or whatever, the subconscious mind has 44 years of data or 50 years of data over here that it's pulling from in order to interface with the conscious mind and the body. Your unconscious mind, since that represents every past life you have ever lived, you know, it could be thousands of lifetimes, millions of years. And if you're a highly conscious being, which everyone on this call is, or you wouldn't be here, it's probably millions of years and thousands of lifetimes. So your unconscious mind then comes into play as well. And past lives, when you get down here to an issue here, good luck trying to find what it is. Up here, this is hard enough. I can figure it out most of the time what these deeply buried and hidden emotional traumas are. And I can get at the fears, the negative fixations, the discordant and hidden emotions easy. That's easy. This one's a little tougher. This one's easy. I can get at that. Well, when whatever a person is being impacted by is coming from the unconscious mind and past lives and coming up and bubbling up, because the subconscious mind is looking at that energy as well. Now, let me give you a good example. Let me finish my thought first. When you're here, when you're playing in here, now it's a different game. It's a rougher game. It's a tougher game. Is it fixable? Yeah, hell yeah. Takes a little bit more effort, but we can get there. So this is all bubbling up in the subconscious mind. So not only is the subconscious mind dealing with this current life, this current reality, now it's getting impact or information from here, and then it's impacting the conscious mind, which is impacting the body. So you might have an ache and a pain in the body that has no rhyme or reason. No rhyme or reason for it. And it's coming from here. Okay, so let me give you an example. I am building a program right now. We're getting ready to launch it probably by the end of May. And it is called the Light Workers. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't remember it. Light Workers Soul Liberation Program. And it is intentionally designed for light workers, healers, star seeds, indigo souls, highly conscious beings, empaths, sensitives. I've been doing a lot of research into this area because I had to do it for myself. And what I discovered was first of all, there's 8 major blocks that I've discovered for what I'm discussing, but I'm going to use one as an example. I had what's called the light workers persecution imprint. Light workers persecution imprint. And so when my conscious mind is going, I need to reach more people, I need to play a bigger game, I need to develop a program for first myself, but now it's turned out it's going to be for other light workers. I need to take the brakes off. Instead of going through life with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, which wears you out, I need to take my foot off the brake so I can move forward and achieve my dreams and my goals, and which I will tell you, after I did all these clearings on myself, I'm off to the races. But the example is light worker persecution imprint. That energy was in a past life of mine. Actually, that's not correct. That energy was in probably hundreds of past lives of mine. And what it is that I have done this work before. And I've done work like this before in other lifetimes, other situations, other scenarios. And what the persecution is that I was hung, I was burned at the stake, I was beheaded, I was ostracized from the tribe, not allowed to be around my family, all kinds of things. And the way that manifested in this life was when I dealt with my own family at the conscious mind level and then the subconscious mind level. My own family makes fun of me for what I do, right? Now, having said that, when any of my kids get sick, I'm the first person they call. So they can laugh and joke with me all they want. I know what they really think. But if I let that get to me, that would stop me from moving forward. I don't what other people think of me is none of my business. I really do believe that. But my subconscious mind was not letting me move forward in my life because of the light worker persecution imprint. Now, like I said, there's 7 more in there, and there's curses, hexes, spells, vows, pacts, contracts, agreements, all that kind of stuff that comes into play. It's a very elaborate piece of work. But once I cleared that, and that feedback was not going to the subconscious mind, and that feedback from the subconscious mind was not going to the conscious mind, I could actually sit down at my desk and focus long enough to make progress on a program, on the project, to launch it, and so forth and so on, and who it's targeted to and how to market it and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that gets cleared or got cleared in here was my ability to experience miracles for myself. My ability to experience miracles for myself and my clients. And my clients. Clear that. Boom. I begin to be able to work in this world and get things done. So that's how you can be held back by things you don't even know about, and held back by lifetimes you're not even aware of. Now, is it fair? No, hell no, it's not fair. It's not fair in any way, shape, or form. One of the things I figured out in this protocol was your universal agreement. Okay, so your universal agreement is the contract you sign when you walked into this world. And somehow those universal agreements that we all signed to say, we're going to come back at this time, we're going to help the world heal, we're going to be of assistance, we're going to, work on ourselves and make ourselves better, and the net result is our family improves, our relationships improve, the people around us get better, all that kind of stuff. That's a universal agreement. And I think Carolyn Mace calls it a contract. She can call it what she wants. I found the proper vernacular is universal agreement. But one of the things I found I had to take back my universal agreement. What I liken it to is the terms of service. For your iPhone or your Galaxy or whatever you have, how you have those terms of service that they're all the time changing so it's in the corporation's benefit and not your benefit. But how you get your terms of service have changed. Please click at the bottom and agree. And I guarantee you 99.99999% of the people do not read it, nor do they care. All they care about is to continue to be able to use their phone. So they click agree. And lo and behold, they just gave away their information or some of their data, or maybe their rates go up or whatever, but it's not to your benefit. So that's one of the things that gets a hold of us here in this world, because of the dark energy that controls this world, is your terms of service or your universal agreement.